Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fiume, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. On today's show, I have the founder of SURV, Pat Brown. Before we bring on today's guest, here are three things you'll learn from today's show. One, the origin of SURV's 5 Ds of life. Second, why he walked away from a successful entertainment business working with global music stars to pursue something more meaningful. And finally, why partnering with the Cornerstone Group has positioned him for sustainable national growth. Pat, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here, Frank. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, Pat, let's hear all about SURV. First of all, what do you guys do?
We're a to-do list partner for homeowners, so people can subscribe, and we're going to come and complete all of their different odd jobs and home projects around the home to help people live fuller lives at home.
Nice. And what got you started with this?
When I was in college, I started doing odd jobs around my community as an effort to pay for school. Just knocked on every door in my town of Little Compton, Rhode Island, and said, hey, you can rent me and I'll do whatever you want, which was my little tagline back in the day, which was quality service at the cost of an allowance without the complaining of an actual son. And the business was called Rent Sons at the time. And I wouldn't use that line nowadays, but it worked great back then. And I just kind of did what anyone needed me to do. I didn't really know how to do anything when I started, but it was awesome because I got to learn all these practical skills. I got to help many times like aging homeowners with whatever they needed around the home. And it was sort of this beautiful symbiotic relationship of the youth helping the elderly and learning skills that I'm going to have for the rest of my life in the process. So did that every summer, paid for school in cash doing it. Mm-hmm. And then ended up building another business called Aqua, which was a water hologram special effects business, and sort of hit it big very young as like a 20-year-old, and became the water guy for the music industry. Had some major shows with like Tiesto, the Chainsmokers, Ricky Martin. I lived in Las Vegas. I got to do in cruise ships and it was a wild life, but asked myself what it meant to live a full life. Kind of went down this sort of introspective journey that I think a lot of us go through in their quote unquote quarter life crisis around 24, 25, and realized I wanted to have something more like meaningful in my work. And I just felt that like the water industry was more of like creating a beautiful drug experience for many people. And that wasn't really what I was all about. So decided to take a step back, and in that time of reflecting, I just felt that like, wow, there's this beautiful thing happening with young adults helping seniors, with seniors being helped, and just having like a resource for these helping hands around the home, and thought there'd be a great way to impact an older generation, younger generation, if we could scale this at a national level.
Wow. That's really mature, at the time for a 24, 25-year-old that's, you're in an environment when you've got this really cool business where you're around celebrities and stuff, but you still, decided that ultimately you want to do something that was more fulfilling. And, that's pretty impressive, especially for that age, right?
Yeah, it was kind of cool. Like I'd spend a weekend in Las Vegas with like, hanging out with all the top celebrities. And then I would go back and move an old lady's lawn furniture in my hometown and talk to them over tea about life. And that dynamic I got to experience for many years, I think really helped ground me into like what's most important in life.
Wow, that's awesome. What were some of the most popular services that you were providing for the elderly?
I mean, just having like coming alongside and providing like helping hand services, I think was generally a great one. Like helping seniors get out in the yard and still complete projects around their house, but being a helping hand to help them be able to do it. Whether that was like weeding the garden, planting things, bringing down Christmas lights from the attic. That became like the very like feel good, beautiful part of the model. And then as we've grown, we've been able to develop our skill sets and our trades to be able to provide different types of services, like maybe like building a ramp or helping clean windows or helping power wash a house, things that are a little bit more sophisticated, but it sort of always kind of goes back to the heart of that, coming alongside someone and helping them, whatever they need
Wow.
around the home.
I always love to hear founders talk about the early days and some of the challenges that they had and how they overcame them. It's truthfully, Pat, it's very inspiring for other founders that are watching or listening to this, because everybody goes through a lot of challenges in their business, right? It's not smooth sailing. What were some of the early challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
For how early are we talking? Are we talking 18-year-old on a bike nowadays,
No,
or
I'm talking about,
V2?
you got SURV going and you've got customers, and now that you kind of left the water or the aquatic entertainment side of the business and you started doing this only, what were some of those challenges? Because this was it, right? You were doing this full time.
Yeah, I would say, whenever someone comes and works, I say 80% of what you're going to do is going to be awesome. 20% is going to suck.
Right.
And I think it's like finding the meaning in the suck, right? Because you learn so much about yourself. When you embrace things with a growth mindset and really want to overcome challenges and see what are the lessons in those challenges, I think that's how you're inherently growing as an entrepreneur, like having the resilience to rise to a much greater level. And so I would sort of encourage anyone that's founding a company or starting a franchise, note that, the grind is where all the growth is. If you're having a lot of hard times and pushing through, that's where you're like really going to grow as an entrepreneur and resilience. Like I sometimes think people being a little too cushy in a franchise can actually make people fail, because they're not having that back against the wall type of mentality where they need to like get, that sort of sense of urgency, the bias for action to really overcome issues.
Nice. Pat, you seem like you've always been wise beyond your years. Did you have any mentors, or who inspired you?
Dang, 7 minutes in and you're already saying wise behind your ears. I'll take that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's actually what's been beautiful about the SURV models. A lot of times I got to work with like very wealthy, successful people around their home that cared about me. They cared about my eagerness to help them and learn and work hard and show up on time and be polite. That when I'd ask them like, hey, could I like pick your brain over coffee after the job? They would always many times say yes. And so I developed like many mentors in my life that have really helped me grow immensely. One's Peter Barkman from Brand One. He's become like a great mentor of mine, kind of like a dad. Other one's a guy named Dave Dunkel. He built a company called K-Force. And also is the chairman of the board of C12. And he been talking to him every other week for 3 years and has mentoring me through all the things of life. So I'm always like a big proponent for people to like seek out mentors, to seek out wise people that you really want to be like, and just try to hang out with them, really.
Yeah. All right. So give me something. I'd love to kind of hear a scenario where you got somebody's ear and they gave you some great advice. What were some of the most impactful things that you heard?
I would say, Peter, one of the big things for like franchise, and especially, is like to like trust and respect people. Like those are always the big things. Like if you want to work with someone, do you like them? Do you enjoy spending time with them? Do you trust them? Do you feel like they're not going to let you down? You're going to be beside them, and do you respect them? Do you respect who they are, where they're going? And like having those three things, as far as when you're picking a franchise with the franchisor, I think is a really important part. And with the franchise as well, like having people that are like drawn in with their heart and also with their head, like they can logically make sense of like, does this make sense for my life? The kind of income I need, kind of lifestyle need, and also is the why behind what we're doing really driving me to get up every day and to really push through and like what we're doing. I would say with Dave, he's really helped me like a lot in my spiritual walk about like really trusting God and like helping go to God for all things and all challenges that I may be going through, and trying to hear what God would say about that to like help me grow through journaling, through prayer, through reading, through conversations. And that has been like incredibly impactful in my life. And I've been able to see God work in my life in beautiful ways that also makes the moments of SURV very special as well.
Yeah. And just think you've been serving these, you serve all of your customers that in many cases, the elderly people that need you. And it must be fun also that you get an opportunity to talk with them, and they're wise because they've been around the block, and because they're older, they probably enjoy spending the time talking to you, and they feel like, maybe they don't always have somebody in their life. And so you're doing more than just, no pun intended, serving them, but also you're giving them an opportunity to socialize and feeling like they get to contribute.
Yeah, it's sort of that mutual relationship that I think is really missing in society nowadays. There's not a lot of opportunities for the elderly, or just even doesn't have to be elderly, it could just be 50, 60 plus, whatever, like
Sure.
this older generation, to mentor and get to know and be energized by a younger generation if it's not their grandkids or their kids, right? So, and I think it's like a very small percentage of Gen Z even have a relationship with someone outside their parents. I think it's like 6%.
Wow.
So what SURV does is it allows, the younger people and also people of all ages, but to connect with that older generation, especially through projects around the house. And I think it's nice too, when you're doing a project around the home, you're embarking on a little bit like a tribulation or a journey with them. It's like, we have a project. This is something that's like a stressor in my life. Many times we're working with I call it the 5Ds: deaths, divorce, downsides, diapers, and diamonds. Some of the big moments of life that all are very emotional. And you get to like help them plan out the strategy of how we're going to overcome this. Then you get to like be in their home, be in their families, be with the crying kids, being with the nagging partners, whatever it may be. And then walk through a little bit of that stress, and then come on the other side where things are starting to look good and the project's almost done, and then it's complete. And then there's this joy of sharing a beer, sharing a coffee, getting a tip, whatever it may be. Right. That just makes it like there's just like a deeper bonding with that community member now than you would have ever had if it was just like saying hi in the grocery store.
Sure. Oh, well, there's this sense of accomplishment really between you and the customer, that together you guys completed something also. So there's that automatic bonding, really, right?
Yeah, it's like helping them gain the relief of their to-do list, and it allows them to be the hero. Like, you are the one getting your to-do list done. We're just like coming alongside you to help make that all happen.
Right. You're in the business of eliminating the overwhelm, right? Mm-hmm. That's essentially it. That's awesome.
The overwhelm. Yeah, it's allowing people to be heroes of their home.
That's great. How'd you come up with these 5 Ds of life?
I heard the 3 Ds somewhere, and I just added 2 more. I'm a big acronym guy, so if you need some acronyms made, I'll probably come up with it.
Nice. All right, so you're running the business. I want to know, was there a pivotal moment where you were like, I am onto something here? This is like before you start franchising. Like, you're running the company and you're leading to franchising, and you're like, this is something that can be big. Was there a moment or something happened that caused that?
I think probably one of the first times I got like 100 job requests in a day. That felt like, okay, there's a lot of jobs that people want help with.
How did you get that much attention, first of all, to get that many jobs of interest?
I think the need is obvious, and when you fill that need well, the word gets out and it starts to really spread. And I've had a lot of like amazing mentors, or just customers that we've like helped, that have either offered to advise me or invest in the company. And you can see that like, all right, they're all seeing that there's something really real here. Mm-hmm. I was very fortunate. One of the early team members of Uber took me under his wing early on.
Wow.
And we just helped him move from Rhode Island to Charleston. And he just like really helped me see the opportunity that there was with the company, and gave me like a much larger mindset when I was starting off.
Since you're dealing with people really of all walks of life, and it sounds like all different income levels, how's been the best way for you to get the word out to getting customers?
I think initially it was a bit of social media, just a lot of like grassroots granola stuff, just like coming up with videos and pictures and sharing my experiences. And then we really tapped real estate. That became like a scalable channel for us, that realtors just loved us for helping prep listings, moving people, and then helping people get settled into their new home. Then we came up with a membership called SURV Plus, which was they would pay us $300 a year. We'd give them unlimited $100 gift cards, give to their clients, called the gift of help. And so it was like an amazing closing gift for them. And so that became something where we would go, kind of built out a whole sales process of how we approached realtors. And we would just get in with a couple agencies and we were just slammed with that agency all the time. Then we got in with like age 55 plus communities were huge, offices of healthy aging, loan officers. So there became all of these ways that we were sort of plugging into the community that we just had constant referrals from and now we've built up our client list. It's over 9,000 people. And so this is just in Rhode Island. And so we have tons of people who are always using us year round. So it's a lot of just like text and email marketing to our current customers to drive revenue and then adding in different services or educating them. But we really try now to meet with people in Q4, Q1 to help them plan out their year. So like, hey, come in, we do an assessment of like to make their home look good and stay safe and what projects are meaningful to them. And then go ahead and make a plan for what do we want to do in the spring, summer, fall, winter, then give them a little bit of a discount because they're sort of committing to a plan with us and getting all of our customers on these like plans.
Pat, that's brilliant because the list never ends.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And it's probably really exciting for your customers to say, all right, we're going to plan now next year of all these things we're going to do to make my home safer or better or, doing these upgrades or cleaning out this garage or anything. I mean, they feel like they finally have the person they've been looking for to help them in ways where their family doesn't want to or can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then just trying to be transparent with the pricing and like how we work with them. And yeah, we definitely have some extreme advocates. There's a lot of women called like I had a call yesterday. This lady ran the call. She's like, I don't know if you remember me. I've been using it for like 10 years, but you guys are a lifeline to me. I love you guys. All right, bye. That was it. That was the whole call. Yeah, 'cause she was on a job with our guys and she just randomly had my number. I didn't even have her name. It just said Natick on my phone. I don't know. Sorry if you're listening to this, but but those are really special moments.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right. So things were humming along. You've got people blowing up your phone. Where does franchising come into play?
Yeah. So I started trying to grow it on my own and conceptually, because I had this Uber mentor, I was like, okay, I'm just going to scale as the Uber of odd jobs. I'm going to try to build an app and have a one-stop shop. But then as I started to grow, like I really wanted it to feel communal and like connected to the local community of how it started in Little Compton. Mm-hmm. And so Peter Barkman, helped mentor me for years. And he never convinced me, but he walked alongside me. And eventually I was like, okay, I totally want to franchise. You're right. Like this is the way to go. 'Cause like it gets the local owner operator in there. They're able to mentor a group of people, really have tangible impact right where they are, versus me. Like I'm not going to know anybody really in like South Carolina, unless I go down there. And I'm really a big believer in like being where your feet are and like really trying to make where you are better. And so franchising was this beautiful way to do that. And so I had some people reach out that were like begging to start a franchise. They loved the concept of SURV, like really wanted it in their community. So I was like, all right, go ahead and do it. So started franchising, got the docs. I brought on this group of people and then we started franchising. We were in Raleigh, Michigan, Nashville, and Birmingham. And we just, when working with them, sort of ideate on the model, how to make it like the best possible. We've already learned so much from our franchisees, so that was like wonderful, and how we've increased the profitability, increasing the offering to customers, which we like to call our neighbors. And then we decided to do like a bigger partnership with this group called Cornerstone towards the end of 2024, so in our first year.
And so, all right, yeah, I want to ask a little bit more about Cornerstone Group. So you first franchised, and did you first have these franchisees before you kind of partnered up with Cornerstone? Because I understand you've got 5 franchises. You got Rhode Island, North Carolina, Michigan, Tennessee, and Alabama, right?
Yep. Yeah, so we brought them on before.
Okay, yeah. I think this is a really a pivotal moment right now because there are a lot of franchisor or founders that are watching or listening to this, and they're trying to figure out how to grow their business. And there are opportunities to partner up with groups. So I'd love for you to kind of expand on sort of how that all worked out with the Cornerstone folks, and ultimately why you decided to do that.
Yeah. So I had, Peter was mentoring me, and he was helping sell franchises for this group called First Light Home Care. And he always was saying, like, man, if there's a way that you could ever work with these guys, they're helping seniors, you can help the home. Like, you have such aligned hearts and values. Like, I really think you guys could come and work together so wonderfully. And so it was kind of in a background conversation for a couple of years, actually. And then we finally decided, like, hey, it actually would make great sense strategically long term if we could partner up. They're killing it, wonderful IM19, over 300 locations now and growing like a weed. And so we decided to sort of team up with them. And so they were going to provide the capital, all the infrastructure, the back office to really help, the training center, everything to really help make sure that the franchisees are very successful. And so we did that partnership, I think it was in December of 2024. And so in 2025, it's been a lot of just putting all those building blocks in place, like making sure that we have a strong cornerstone, for the base of the brand. And just like elevating the website, the marketing, the messaging, the jobs we do, the job costing, everything. So that way, when we start to really scale, we can be in a really good place. And so, and we're excited. We're getting a lot of traction. We're partnering with Brand One. So we have a lot of people that are interested in the franchise, and we have some exciting announcements coming soon.
Cool. So how has your role as a founder changed now, as opposed to just being, you being a one-man shop? There's pros and cons to it, right? There's the ability now for you guys to expand and grow faster and much more efficient. You're probably not going to make some mistakes that you would have made otherwise, but there's a little bit of give and take now, right? Because now you've got folks who, I don't want to say you have to answer to, but you have to get, I assume there's some buy-in. There's a relationship there where you've got to communicate your desire and strategy and changes you want to make, right? So tell us a little bit about that, on how your role has changed.
Yeah, I definitely think founder role in a franchise is its own role. So I'm still learning like what that means. I've always just been like a roll up your sleeve entrepreneur, and you're doing a little bit of everything.
Right.
So I think really just trying to be like the face, be encouraging person to other franchisees. Help people that are interested in the franchise, like becoming a part of the SURV franchise, like helping empathize and understand where they're at, and just talk to them very honestly about what it's like to franchise. And then having Cornerstone has been wonderful. It's been a really growth experience for me. It is definitely a lot different. It's like learning sort of that everyone has like specialties, and to like lean on those people's specialties and like collaborate with those people that are very talented, very seasoned what they're doing. Like we have incredible coaches, like finance people, marketing people, technology people, operations people, like the guy and we brought on this new brand president. His name's David Dunsmuir, and he helped build Home Depot. So he's like one of the original guys from Home Depot. So like getting to lean on guys like David, and he also ended up building Rebath as well. So I think learning that skill, I'm still like kind of figuring that out. So I think other founders, if they're wanting to do a deal, just knowing that it is going to be a different, but hopefully like better, like it's really what you're ultimately like aiming. I heard this podcast or something the other day. It's like, if you're like, for an arrow, the thing that kills an animal is like the tip of the spear, like the very tip. Like you want to be the tip, and then everybody else should come alongside you to help make that thing happen. So as a founder, leaning into like, what is it about being a founder that makes you special? And many times it has to do with vision casting, the dreaming, the creativity, the way to get people energized around a specific topic, and sort of like that's your tip of the spear. And as much as you would love to think that maybe operations or technology or all these other things you're really good at, you probably aren't.
Right.
Unfortunately, most founders are too blind to see that.
They are. Right.
Maybe a little bit of myself as well. So
look, we all do that. But Pat, I think what makes you different is that you are putting the mission first, and you're willing to partner up with people, and you are entrusting the right people to help you serve your customers and complete your mission,
Yep.
as opposed to the business being about you. Not once did I hear the business was about you. In subtle ways, I listened for this when I talk to founders. This business has never been about you. And secondly, it wasn't about you controlling everything. And that's what makes it different, because for some founders that I've had, on the show, I know their brand is their identity, and it's so important that everything is about not that it's about them, but they want to control everything. And they think that if they control everything, they're going to be able to serve customers better. And you must have realized, obviously, you realized at an early age, and through your mentors, the mentors that you've been around, that you realize the best way of getting it done is relying on people that can do that. And it's not always you.
It is definitely not always me. And I think I'm like really excited for that journey. I think we're in the sort of early stages of like building all these beautiful building blocks. And there's so much IQ in that room when we're all meeting together. And I just can't wait to see how much we're able to support people as they scale their franchise, and ultimately have that mission that was put on my heart at 24 years old of like really helping people and building these communities across the country.
Did you have your own employees, or I should say, did you have your own leadership team before you teamed up with Cornerstone? Because it sounds like they're handling everything in the back office, as well as, they are part of the leadership team. Did you have your own people as well as part of a leadership, or was it just you?
Yeah, we brought one of the main guys over. His name was Daniel. He really helped with a lot of our marketing and branding. So he's still doing a lot of that for the franchisor. I ended up like stepping more into running the Rhode Island franchise more, and which I actually really, really love. Like I love being connected to the workers, the customers, like the job. Like it's very fun for me, and I like being able to relate very empathetically to all other franchisees. So yeah, it was pretty lean business we had.
Right. So it sounds like that the brand president that was hired by Cornerstone is now chiefly responsible for leading the brand, including franchising, where you're able to spend the time focusing on your franchise locally in Rhode Island. Is that right?
Yes.
And then, so how do they bring you in as the founder? Because you're running your own franchise, but you are the founder of the brand. And I'm sure there's still some connection that people want to hear from you.
Yeah, I sit on the board of the franchise. I'm one of 3 board members. And then I, many times I'm there to speak to other franchisees, speak publicly at times, speak on podcasts, speak to people that are candidates. I'm at the Meet the Team Day at times, so I can like help tell that founding story and some of the nitty gritty of what it's like to be a franchise at the Meet the Team Day. I do validation calls. So many times as new candidates are coming through, I'll speak to some of the people that are really interested in the model. And I just like to be available. Like once franchisees start, like here's my cell phone, like please call me if you like ever have a scary thought or a moment or whatever it may be. And like, I just want to be there for people. That's like my heart is like, I really want to make sure people are successful. Like I want to be there for people. And then also just pointing them in the right direction, like, hey, like this coach will really help you with that. Like lean on them for that specific support.
All right. So there's nobody better to ask than the founder on this then, Pat. What is the type of person you think will thrive in this franchise since you've done the job? Who do you need to be, and what are some of those most important attributes that a franchisee needs to have to be super successful in this system?
I would say one is like a heart and care for serving their community and loving their community well. Our number one value is agape. So it's like choosing that unconditional care for others, no matter like how they treat you. So I think really like seeing the deeper purpose and meaning in when you're moving someone, when you're helping someone declutter their home after their husband passed away, like those types of things that really light you up and you go, wow, like that was amazing. Like that was so special. Like if that's something that really makes you just perk up like that, I would say you're a great candidate. Say 2, having like, bias for action. You're ready to make the move. If you need to go here, go there. following the plan we give you, but not getting like stuck behind your desk and not really doing a lot of like the sort of getting out and being a part of the community that I think is a really critical part to making this business work. It's a very relationship driven business. Yes, there will be digital marketing and print marketing and all those things, but a lot of it has to do with being rooted and connected in your community. And if you're not connected right now, that's okay. You can be connected tomorrow, and we're going to teach you how to be connected, but just having the desire and action to go out and be there. I'd probably say 3 is like just a love for the home. Just gets you excited, like smelling fresh paint. Or if you walk into Home Depot and if that happens to you. Yeah. If you just like get excited about that or like being a little dirty, like that's good too. I'm not going to ask you to really go in the field, but
right.
I think just like being around it gives you joy. I still think there's something like inherently boyish, playing in the dirt, building things with Legos. Like I think you just bring that from your kid. You never really grow out of it. So
now you're getting paid for it though now.
Yeah. That's the goal there.
Is the expectation if a franchise owner is owner operated then, or is the expectation that they're going to hire people to serve the community? Like what's my role if I'm a franchisee primarily?
Yeah, I don't think there's like a cookie cutter answer we can give. Like we're desiring people that are owner operator, but an owner operator could hire a general manager like as they grow.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can build it pretty lean and mean and not need a ton of, staff in between to make it really work well, like especially as you're growing. So we just say like if those, if you relate with those 3 things I just pointed out, like it's worth coming and checking out the franchise, and we can talk about your individual situation and see if it's the right fit for you or not. And we're not going to lie to you. Like if we think it's a bad fit, we'll let you know.
Good. What's the investment range to open a location, and how big is a territory typically?
It's 250,000 people or around 10,000 homes. Total investment is between 104,958 and 134,750. So relatively low investment costs to get the model going.
Nice. And where do you guys see the brand growing next 5 to 10 years? You've got 5 locations, but you just gotten started. How big is big?
Yeah, we'd love to get to 500 locations. Probably by 2032 would be my goal. So the next 7 years, we're with Brand One and incredible franchise sales organization. And we saw, I think First Light have, don't quote me on this, but I think around 50 sold locations this past year. So I think once the ball gets rolling and we're really seeing the infrastructure in place and the validation happening, I'm sure we'll grow, but we want to grow at like a healthy speed. We have all the capital backing us to like help us in that time. So we're not relying on the franchise fee to sell.
Sure.
And it's more just like building it the right way.
That's great. Well, you certainly have your wind to your back with the industry trend of the aging population, with the baby boomers really coming of age where they can't, or, just they're unable to handle some of the services that you're providing or don't want to, that you've really got a great opportunity really the next 5 to 10 years to blow this thing up.
Yeah, it's like 1/5 of America in 5 years will be over 65. I think by 2050, it's going to be 1/4. It's like crazy. And all of them want to age in home. 90% want to age in home.
Right.
And I think most of the wealth is in the senior population too. So like they're going to be more eager to hire for a service when they can't, do these specific services as well, or need adjustments to their home. And there's a lot of also like government grants, for things like building a ramp going into the home. There's everything's state dependent, but there's a lot of ways that people are trying to keep people at home as much as possible.
Nice. All right. Well, Pat, if someone was interested in learning more about opening a SURV, where would they go?
Yeah, they can go to our website, wesurv.com. Feel free to even just drop me an email, pat@wesurv.com, and I'll connect you to the right person. And would love to see who's interested and to have a conversation with them.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like this is a great time for someone who is interested in opening a franchise to do it with the aging population and the services that you provide, and having that great backing by the folks at Cornerstone. So I wish you all the best, continued success with the brand.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.